Hi everyone. So good evening to who are watching. My journey with TMCA, I think that's one of the prime reasons I thought of coming for the session because as of now I'm not involved in any major offline teaching, so I'm basically not in touch with most of the centers. So my journey with TMCA is a very special one because of the reason that as well with so many of the teachers over here, I was also a student in TMCA. So that is after my internship. So I basically had to face failure of kind after my MBBS because of the reason that I couldn't crack the NEET PG exam in my first attempt, which was a kind of a shocker for me because I primarily thought that I would get it in the first attempt, but I ended up getting 2,400, which was a decent rank. 2,400 is not a bad rank, but then I thought like I'll give one more shot because that was with internships. I thought I'll give one more shot. But those times we don't have so many options to prepare. Like so many options are not there. Either you go to any branded centers outside the state, or you come to Thrissur TMCA, which is the main center inside Kerala. So I came and joined there. And then I started off with my preparation. So from then on, I had a great relationship with TMCA. Thereafter, I became a faculty over there, and we've conducted so many programs and all, and so many things. So the exam pattern and scenario has changed significantly over this decade. And now what we actually see is not the exam pattern that we saw then. It's actually become much more easier to be frank, because the exam was much more tougher when I was writing. It's much more easier now. Now, the thing is, as Nishant mentioned something very clear. And if you are a person who has been preparing for your NEET PG from second year, third year, honestly, you've had a good understanding with your undergrad level. You've studied with an online platform and you have found that really useful. And then you are basically into the final lap of your preparation, which is meaning you're into the last 1 year. And you've already studied everything solidly with the online platform for your MBBS exams, then I don't think you have to go for a hybrid mode. You can very well continue with your online mode itself, and that has been proven to be successful by a lot of people. I am basically unaware of that pattern of learning because when I prepared for the entrance, there was only offline mode. So that's the reason why I try to think of how, if I were in your place, I could combine this or make a hybrid approach with respect to online and offline. For the vast majority of others, especially from Kerala and down south, who have not actually prepared anything during MBBS, have vague ideas here and there, and now are in a pretty kind of a stressful state where they want to get something going within the space of the space of 8 or 9 months. How can they make this effective? I think that's where a coaching center like TMC comes into play, because it is a completely government center. It has no vested interest. It is basically run with only pure intentions, and people who joined here and people who are teaching here also really want to see the students do well. So there's a lot of positivity in there. How you utilize it is a question mark. That is where many people have doubts with respect to so many material with you, already having a lot of online material with you, then a lot of offline material with you and stuff. So for me, what I would actually suggest is, like, if you go with the statistics for the 2024 exam, very terribly tough exam, and 2025 exam, which is actually speaking a very easy exam, stats are not very different. It's almost like very similar. It's not at all different. If you get 180 right and 20 wrong, you get rank one. You get 170 right and 30 wrong, you get 500. You get 160 right and 40 wrong, then you come to approximately somewhere around 3,000. 150 right and 50 wrong, you come to somewhere around 11,000. So even if you come to 150 right and 50 wrong, which is all very easy in this pattern exam, because I think anyone and everyone who's written the exam would understand that to get 150 right is a very easy proposition here, and you get 150 right and 50 wrong, still you come to 11,000, which means that scoring something between 3,000 to 11,000 is very, very practical proposition, very, very practical. So still, in spite of that, only 10,000 people have managed to get 1,000, 150 plus questions right in this exam, which is something that's really surprising. Which means that though people have studied from different resources, finally on that exam day, in the heat of the exam, to put it into the question and to actually execute it, majority people have not been able to. Because when I saw the set of questions for this exam, I thought like maybe somebody who gets 150 right might get 25,000 rank. But finally, when it came to somebody who got 150 right ended up getting 11,000. So which means that people have not fared as well as we expected. So that literally shows that that final phase of preparation where they have to put everything together has somehow not happened that way. And that's primarily due to the reason, ABCD reasons, like their exam didn't go well, or they had too much of stress sitting in the exam hall, or the final phase of preparation didn't go that well, etc. So you can actually point out so many things. But how can we correct it, and how can we actually make our preparation what at least in a way that we feel is really catered to the exam or is really good with respect to the exam is what we are thinking about. In that regard, my first thing is to actually kind of make an individual plan for each subject. You take each subject, go into each of the subjects, look into the last recalls which we actually have on YouTube. So you can see from 2020, there are a series of recalls. So 5 recalls for NEET, you have 10 recalls of INI, and just see through that individual subject. Just keep that individual subject in mind, see the recalls. And with every question on the recall, you can actually write down a topic. That means there is a topic that has been actually taken up and discussed in that particular recall, in that particular question. The question is centered around a topic. So like that, if you keep writing the topics for each subject, in under each subject, you will have a list of topics. Those topics are the ones which probably are going to, I think, make or break, because questions can come outside those topics. But at least if you are reasonably sure with these topics, then you are actually going to give it a, you are going to have a fighting chance. Once you know these many topics, you can again put it under different chapters. You get a reasonable idea with respect to, okay, which are the chapters that are ruling the roost, which are the chapters that are actually in the forefront. Once you know that, you make a plan with respect to how are you going to study the chapter. How are you going to study that chapter is where I think this hybrid mode can come into play, because you may have watched few videos of that, I mean, of that particular chapter from faculty A, B, or C, and then now you are having this class. So when you come to the class and you get an idea of how this faculty is trying to teach this subject, which he or she may have covered more extensively in a video, so you get an idea as to, okay, this is what forms the crux. With that crux, without making any effort to go back and study that, you can straight go to the question bank and straight start solving the questions and see where you stand. And then you understand that you are learning and execution, either it's going in the right direction or you're learning but not executing well. This way you cover subject by subject, chapter by chapter, and push forward. I think it will add a lot of meaning to your preparation. And where TMC comes into play is, in simple terms, discipline. Discipline is something that is extremely hard at any age, for that matter. To get some discipline going into your work is a very, very tough exercise, because we get distracted by A, B, C, D factors. So when you come for a program like this, at least you get that temperament, to sit in a class, to listen to somebody, to actually get some good friends, and to get that plan executed in a more what do you say, practical fashion, I would say. Because when you sit at home, or when you sit somewhere and completely cut off from everything, it's a kind of negativity. At least for me, it's that way. It's full negativity. So I can't think about sitting in one place and studying, which is obviously out of question. I have never done that in my life. Even for this PG preparation, we had friends, and I always believed in combined study. And I'm a person who does combined study all the time. And I really don't like being locked up inside a room. It's something which is generally very tough for me. So we just go to some open space and just sit and study with 2 3 people and just discuss and study. So that's what I used to do, and that is always very positive. It doesn't invite any kind of negativity. So in that regard, you can make a plan, and then after a point, start focusing on solving questions. Not Don't try to jump the gun too much by solving too many questions right up front. See, at the end of the day, what is most important is whether you know or not. Executing is there, but like for the degree of toughness that we had in this year's exam, it's not about execution. It's about whether you know or don't know. So it's about whether you know or don't know means first part of your preparation, that is solidly studying, really matters. And then after that point, when you've done your question bank and then you have made the necessary corrections and then strengthened your notes, after a period, I think you can start thinking about doing tests and how you're going to fare with respect to the test. Or even before that, you can do, provided you are in a mindset where you don't really bother about the results of the test too much. Like it shouldn't take up negativity with respect to that. So that way, I think TMC can come in very handy, because you have a set timetable. You know that, okay, these are the subjects. One subject is going to move on. So before that subject moves on, we'll actually try to get some kind of grip on the subject. And don't ever think that that's the last time that you're going to come across the subject. You'll definitely come back again. So overall, your preparation gets more disciplined. It's like more streamlined, and you at least have a place to come and talk. Yeah, you get a lot of friends, you talk, you have Nishant all the time, so you can actually discuss your problems and you will be heard, I think. And that's also a very positive thing. And the vibe in Trishur is also very positive. It's a very beautiful place, actually speaking. And overall, I think people who've come there have generally done pretty well also. So on the whole, what I personally feel is you can try giving a chance. But if you're already well set with your preparation, already you're going good with respect to online right from the beginning, then there is no reason for you to change. And I wouldn't recommend anyone to change. But if you are starting afresh or not really done anything with respect to preparation so far, and you want to get it rolling, I think this is a really good option. Because rather than going for some other kind of a class where you don't really know who is teaching you, what is happening, this is where you really know who is coming and teaching. And for me, that was a very, very good experience. Primarily because I am a person who's not just focusing on this exam. So for me, when I come and see somebody, like for example, I see Rebecca madam coming for the class and teaching biochemistry, I get some hope. The hope is that even if you get a subject like biochemistry and I have to take a biochemistry, I like biochemistry so much, then that is actually what is say putting a career or throwing up a career in front of me. Because during MBBS times, many of you may not have thought of what would happen if I take biochemistry as a PG, what would happen to me. So then right in front of me, there is somebody who is from my own state, who is from similar background, who studied in a similar college, has actually taken up biochemistry and become very, very successful. So that's actually a very positive thing. Like that, you're seeing people who teach you different subjects, who are actually very, very different kind of people and have studied different kinds of subjects from different places. All of them have actually managed to do really well. So these subjects really don't have any similarity. Community medicine is not similar to endocrinology or is not similar to biochemistry, is not similar to surgery. So when you see people from different subjects doing really well, and then coming and taking classes and you're getting a know-how of the fact that okay, you can succeed by taking up any one of these subjects, that really kind of eases the pressure. I think my biggest learning curve out of being at Thrissur was the fact that the subject really doesn't matter. That is what I understood. I knew beforehand itself that subject really doesn't matter, because you can study anything except for few subjects which you are completely antagonistic to, or you are not able to what do you say, imagine yourself in that place. That may be like three or four subjects, but in any of the other subjects you can study. But the person who has come here and actually become successful in that subject has shown you that it is really possible. So for me, I was very happy at the end of every class, majority of the classes, that okay, these people have done these subjects and become successful, which means that I don't have to go with the conventional norm. That means, okay, this is, I have to do radiology, I have to do medicine. That is absolutely not there now. And now in this era with AI coming up in a big way, we really don't have anything like that, which means like, okay, this is a better subject to go to. Nobody can say like that. Microbiology may be the most up and running subject in few years' time. We can't predict. So because of which, just keep your options also open. That will take away a lot of stress, because it's only when you think that you have to do this subject that stress comes in. If you think that you can do this and do that as well, then that makes things much more easier. So overall, your heart rate will come down if you come here and study. That's a major thing, because when you sit alone and when you start kind of inviting negativity from all the corners, I think that is really not warranted. Absolutely not warranted. So this is at least going to make you feel a lot at ease and make you feel more comfortable, make you understand that you will be able to find your way inside this. Not everyone needs to become the topper. The reason that we consider this exam as a rate limiting exam is because we need to get over this. But you need not get over this as a topper. It is not mandatory. You can still scrape your way through and somehow get out of this and set your career rolling again. So important point is not to get stuck. So because of which I feel this will give you that opportunity. So that's the reason I feel like such a program is much needed for people who are not able to strongly hold themselves, which means majority of the people are like that. They are emotionally very vulnerable. They basically have their ups and downs and lows and highs, and they feel sometimes that they can't do anything, sometimes they're not good, etc. There are only few people like me who are generally not like that, who are very realistic about things and who know what their strengths are, weaknesses are, and they know what help they need, etc. Majority of people whom I have found are the other way around. And for that section of people, I think this will really help, because they'll get that much needed one, momentum and impetus, which is required to make a way forward. Second is some kind of a support, and the support can be from friends and the people over there who can actually, kind of continue with the support, and that will help you to kind of make a way forward with respect to your preparation. So it is in that regard that I feel if you are considering about going and sitting in a class to enhance discipline, I think this is a good option. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Rakesh sir, for a very candid and inspiring session for the students. Most of them are preparing for NEET PG INI 2026. So I think it's a very good time to hear from you and get their course right from the early days as well. So we'll take a few questions before we wind up and wrap up the session. So some of you have already started sharing some questions in the chat. I'll ask to Rakesh sir, and if he can please answer. So first one is it's from Muhammad Zaid. I'm currently in my internship. Half of my internship is completed. I try to study during it, but all the time it fails because of night duties and I lose my consistency. How can I maintain my consistency and study?
Actually, it is not required because internship will not come back again in your life. So please don't sacrifice your internship and try to study. That is going to hurt you in the long run. You please focus on your internship properly. And if whatever time you get, you can watch videos or you can actually do some questions. But don't ever focus on. Don't ever lose focus on your internship because you will be studying only one subject from now on. So this is your last opportunity with respect to all the other subjects. And internship once over is over. It will never come back. So because of which I don't recommend you now to kind of lose focus on internship and just about go and study this and that. Then both of them are not going to make any sense.
Great. So I think very different take than what most students hear online. So again, moving to next question. So 3 students have asked about strategy for the November INICET coming up, sir.
No, this is actually, see, our program is not meant for November INI. So our program is actually meant for the next May INI and NEET PG exam. For people who are preparing for November INI, they have nothing to do with any of the classes. They just have to completely shift their focus towards learning at home and trying to do as many questions possible to be very sure with the recall questions, to be very sure with the recall zones with respect to the exam and have their preparation in full swing because we just have about 2.5 months remaining. So there is no question of any strategy. It's all about you doing your best, doing the questions, doing the revision, then studying your notes again and again. I don't think there is any time to shift to strategy now. It's just about like carrying on with the work that you've been doing because nobody's going to start preparing for November INI now. So obviously we've had a plan and that plan is being executed. So just have confidence in that plan.
Great. So next question, we'll take few more questions. So if anybody have questions, you can please post in the chat right away. How many questions should I solve on a daily basis, sir?
That's like it's very tough to answer. Don't keep any targets for you and stress out yourself. No, you when you feel like you are in top gear, you try to study. When you are feeling a little low, you can start solving the questions. You can just mix it up. On a given day, you are not going to feel high all the time. So early in the morning, suppose you're feeling very energetic and you have like pumped up, then you can actually try and study something new. You can try and watch some videos, or you can actually try and read your notes and study something new. When you're feeling low, of course you can do questions. There is no hard and fast rule with respect to this. It's up to us.
Great. So then it's a question regarding to counseling specifically, if you can please address. Sir, I had given my NEET 2025 rank is 60K. Can I take DNB General Medicine in corporate setup?
That's up to you. Again, this is not a platform to answer that. But if you have to personally go to that center, you have to talk to somebody who is doing the course from that center, and you have to personally be 100% clear with the fact that why you're getting that seat in spite of getting 60K, why people before you haven't taken it up. And if you find all those answers, you're getting all the answers, and you're feeling that, yeah, it's a good center, I can make a career over here, I'll get ample opportunity and all that, then you can go ahead. It's a very tough call to make. But I mean, if you feel that okay, you can write the exam once more, that's also welcome.
Great. Quickly moving on. Sir, how should I approach GTs? When should I start taking GTs?
Depends on your personality. If you're okay with the scores and you're a very positive kind of a person, you can start taking GTs from the beginning itself, just to know from where you're starting, where you stand with respect to the exam. And then as you study more and more, you can see the difference. So there is no hard and fast rule as like that. But if you feel that you feel really depressed and I can't study once you see the scores, then you can wait for 3 months to just get your preparation rolling, and then you can slowly start. But I would recommend to start from day one to do one GT per month at the beginning itself. You just see where you stand. And don't get depressed because of that. Don't take it that way. And after you 3 months preparation, you can start doing two GTs per month. And just to see how you're proceeding and where your negatives or what are your drawbacks, or like which are the subjects you're not doing well, where you need to focus on, etc., etc.
So moving on to the next one. Sir, I'm weak in final year subjects. How to study final year subjects and how to focus? Please give me a plan, sir.
Final year subjects, if you study, obviously you are in with a great advantage. Final year subjects are the most important because through that you can study a lot of first and second year subjects. If you feel that you're weak at final year subjects, obviously again go chapter by chapter, take individual chapter, go to the video, go and listen to that and see for why you're not able to score properly. And after finishing a chapter, do the questions and again go back to the board and start getting it straight. And I think in that regard, offline classes will really help you because offline classes in a short period of time will cater to a lot of things with respect to these pioneer subjects. So you can obviously take help in that direction also. Just don't think that you're weak that way. Just slowly kind of step up your level by consistently putting the effort.
Great. So one specific question on TMCA. Why is TMCA starting face to face by only October? Why not September? So
I
if I
don't think it's required. Yeah, I mean, we have lots of time. The counseling is not even started. So we have actually faced this before when I was conducting programs. Like we finished the program well and truly in advance, and student once again loses track. It's not possible to easily keep track for till the end of the exam. So it's better that you finish 2 3 months before the original exam, not much before that.
Great. And just to add to that, Salvin, for your question, we already have a warm-up phase which is starting on September 1st, just to start off the preparation, give you a ease and before the face-to-face classes begin. So that will commence on September 1st. From October, the face-to-face classes will begin. Next question, sir, will 2 3 revisions be enough to get 1,000 rank starting preparation from now? I'm not sure. Okay.
This is very immature of you, man. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Maturity has to come up. This is like you are not 15, 16 years to ask a question like this. First of all, you please don't keep any targets for yourself. First of all, don't be so strict on yourself that I have to do two revision, three revision. Don't be strict on yourself that I have to get 1,000 ranks. The others are also coming and writing the exam not for any fun. They are also competing. They are also equally good. In an exam where a lot of people are good, it's possible even that you can go outside 1,000. If you come inside 1,000, well and good, but don't unduly kind of stress out yourself and don't punish yourself by thinking that two revisions I have to do, five revisions I have to do, 1,000 I have to get. Nothing like that. You study the best you can, and then with that result, you do the best you can. Unnecessarily don't punish yourself. This is what invites lots and lots of stress. Please don't do that.
Great, sir. So, next question is from a final year student. He wants to know how he should plan his preparation if he's starting now.
This is not the quiz. We are talking about an offline class. No, this is like a completely different question. It's out of what is out of syllabus question. So we'll take it up when we are doing that
Oh,
syllabus.
so he personally messaged so that he wants to know from you. That's why I brought it up.
I know that's what I'm saying. Now this is like we are thinking about people who are now into the last phase, that is the last 9 months or so before the
That's
exam. So they didn't need any kind of offline support and all that. So we're completely deviating from the topic.
Yes, makes sense. So, I think, yeah, there's like a couple of more questions. Then we'll wind up. Sir, how shall I create a steady timetable starting now?
I think you're asking this to the wrong person. I don't make any timetable, man. See, I think Abbas Ali might have been the right person to answer this. So I don't have any timetable of sort or anything. We are, for me, the whole idea is that we are tracking yourself with respect to the exam by doing the tests. So GTs are there to always track. And then you're trying to prepare subject by subject, chapter by chapter, and realistically you are going forward. There is no timetable of sorts. Even TMC can help you set it up because we have a programmed set of classes. So you can actually kind of finish each subject with TMCA and go forward, rather than actually trying to make some big timetable. And suppose you have some personal issue and you're not able to study for 2 weeks, then once again kind of adds on or piles on to the stress. So I personally feel if you are a timetable kind of person, then you can follow a center like TMC and just continue doing what they are doing, like with subject to subject, subject to subject. You can move forward. I think that's the way.
Great. So this is one question I can take. Can I join the batch just after November INI result if I don't perform well? Will a separate batch? So actually, we won't have a separate batch per se, but you will be able to get all the classes starting November. Mostly the clinical classes will be there in November, December, Jan, and Feb. So you'll be able to attend those. The other classes you can probably attend in a revision program, which will be somewhere in March, April, May. So next question, sir, as the exam has become easier, shall I go for detailed reading or all subjects, or will rapid revision main points be enough?
That's too risky, man, because we can't predict. 2024, that was not enough. 2025 exam, it was enough. But if you go through the history of the exam, it's very unpredictable. Sometimes it may be a complete bouncer. And if it is a bouncer and it's tough when you prepare only with revision, then you are never going to be able to even come to 120, 130. So I would never ever recommend that. Because 2025 exam was a little easier, that really doesn't make any difference because the margins are still the same. The toppers are still the same. So it's just that like the tougher questions, the number of tougher questions are slightly on the lower side. But that doesn't kind of make the competition better anyway. So we have to prepare really well. There is no point taking a risk in that regard. Because the students who cracked into the first thousand have really done their hard work so much and they kind of set their table straight right at the beginning itself. So if you want to break into that, you really have to level up your knowledge. There's no other option.
Great. So I think this will be the last question, the students we are taking today. So how to integrate medicine with other subjects? Should I go topic by topic or system wise?
That is what I think in these classes in TMC or in my videos, every time I have tried to do that. That is what I have always tried to actually kind of cater to. My aim of teaching itself is one of my major aims of teaching itself is to get away from our system that there are so many chapters and all that, there are so many subjects and all that, and think everything is like one subject. That is the way I approach it. So that is what I have tried. I think if you have found a chord with that, I think that is the way to integrate. That is what I have been showing in the videos, how we integrate, how we integrate, how we integrate. Even in our class in DMC also, we are always focusing on integration. In whatever that I cover, I will always focus on integration. There is no hard and fast rule for how to integrate, but like this is what I feel is the way for integration. That is why we start off, we figure out a topic, then we start off with the development and the anatomy, physiology. So that's the order that we have tried to follow.
Great. So Uh, yeah, I think Yasin has said, you avoided my question. No, Yasin, I didn't want to avoid, but it's a very specific question. That's why we skipped that. But if you're okay, sir, he has asked, he has passed out many years back, but stopped writing PG exams. And he wishes to restart now, how to start preparing.
I think for such a candidate, I think alumni is like a great option. I think for people who are coming back into the mainstream, for them, there is actually speaking nothing to lose. They don't have to take up 10 things and start studying. You just have to come to alumni, you just have to attend the classes, take the notes, show trust in that, and then do the videos. I mean, sorry, do the grand test. I think that should be more than okay. For people who are coming back into preparation, I think this program is tailor made for them because they don't get distracted. 6 months, properly invest in the program, study what is being taught here. I think you are in with a good chance.
Great. So, last question, if you have time, sir. It's my third attempt. Rank is 80,000, 80. Should I take non-clinical or should I prepare again for batch of my interest?
Um, I would actually say ki if you feel that those 2 years you prepared really well, then there is a strategical error. Because if you prepared really well and you've got 80,000 second time around or in 3 years, which means that if you correct your strategy, you can definitely repeat once more. But if you don't correct the strategy and prepare the same way once again, then you may actually end up getting a similar sort of rank next time. So if you feel strategically you can correct yourself and then push forward, then doing an attempt is perfectly fine. But if that strategical error is not corrected, then again repeating doesn't make too much of sense. So for me, it's about you figuring out as to what are the reasons. If you feel that your preparation was not good enough, then you can always try because then there is no issue of strategy. But if you prepared really well, then there's a problem with strategy. So that strategical error you can only correct for yourself. So you need to think about that. If you can't correct it, then you can always take a subject now, whatever you get, if it's in a good place, and I mean, push your career forward. Nothing wrong in that.
Great. Sir, one last and final question by Dr. Rajesh. Is the preparation strategy same for INICET or and NEET PG, or is there any variation?
INICT has a set pattern, NEET PG doesn't have a set pattern. That's the difference. You should go to YouTube and watch the recall videos, 10 recall videos of INICT, 5 years, and 5 recall videos of NEET. You'll understand that the NEET exams have nothing to do with each other. Each year is a surprise. INICT, when the question paper is set by AIMS, has a set pattern. So it need not actually have a pattern all the time, but majority of the time it has a pattern, which means I refer to INICT as like scoring a goal from a free kick, and NEET PG is like scoring a goal organically on the field or field goal. So free kick can be practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and you are very likely to be successful because at the end of the day, you will know, okay, this is how a free kick works. Whereas an organically happening field goal has to happen by itself. We cannot create a field goal. So that difference is always there. So INICT is better to actually take as a target. I'm targeting next INICT means it makes sense because there are set patterns, set questions, set topics. So you are giving yourself a chance. NEPG has nothing like a rule. So the topics are different each time. Everything, anything and everything can change. So I think INICT is much more easier to crack than NEPG. Not that NEPG is tough or anything, but INICT has a pattern. So at least you are following that pattern.
Great. Thank you so much, Rakesh sir, for taking up so many questions. And dear students, I hope the session was really fruitful, really beneficial for all of you starting your preparation for the NEET PG and INI 2026. As we said, regarding more details about the program or any doubts regarding the session, we have to wind up now because it's already time. You can still reach out to us. We have shared the number in the chat. You can also see our contact details on tmca.org website. So you can reach out to us regarding the program or regarding any other doubts regarding what we shared in today's session. And finally, wishing you the very best. Rakesh sir, any parting words from your side before we wind up?
I mean, I have only one thing to actually tell you that whatever it is, you have to stick on to a plan which you make. The plan is not going to be 100% perfect, but while making the plan, you can ask n number of people. You can ask anybody you want. You can actually take advice from seniors, juniors, etc. But you have to log the plan. I think max to max is September 30th. By September 30th, we have to log the plan. And it is that plan that we will execute till the end of the exam, which can be in May or June or July or August, anytime the exam can be. But once you have locked the plan, then you have to stick to it. Where you have to invest time is to make the plan. That means to correctly set the plan. That means this subject, this will be my approach. This much is the approximate weightage. These are the zones, and this is what I'll be studying from this resource. And once you have made a plan like that for each subject, then it is just about executing the plan. For executing the plan, you can take the help of PMCA, you can come to the classes, you can actually take the help. But if you yourself have no plan, and you have no idea as to what you are targeting, then it becomes a very cumbersome exercise. It becomes very tough also. So these are the days where you have to actually make a plan for each subject. That's why I'm telling you, take anatomy, look at all the recall videos, look at all the INA recall videos, figure out all the important topics, try to scan through the revision notes and see these are the main topics, and then have those topics in mind when you come for the class. If you have topics in mind when you come for the class, you will actually be very well off listening to them, and you will know, okay, why this is being highlighted so much. So like that, have a reasonable plan on each subject, have a reasonable idea on the weightage of each of the subjects, and then try and kind of execute a plan. So Utilize this 1 month, I would say, to make a proper plan and stick on to the plan. And if you include TMC into that, I think then you'll take like kind of a little bit of pressure off from you, because then some of the work will be done by TMC where the classes will be happening. So you can actually stick to that and you can follow that. So that is what I feel would be the better way. And don't ever get carried away with the fact that some of the subjects are easier. So don't ever get carried away that way. Each subject has its own weightage. So don't unnecessarily waste time studying subjects which you feel are easier for you. That should never be the case. And just take out that ninth standard attitude that I have to finish something properly, then go to the next topic. That is also completely very heavy here, because here it's about studying as much as you can and then pushing forward. If you don't understand, you don't understand. You will intersect with the same topic at some other point in time. The major problem which I feel students have is like they're stuck up with that ninth standard attitude of studying something properly and then moving to the next topic, clearing all the doubts, understanding perfectly and moving to the next topic. That will never happen in our life. We never understand anything properly in medicine. We still have thousands of doubts. Okay, each of the topic which I teach you, you may feel I know a lot of things, but I have thousands of doubts in that. So obviously, we are never going to come to that point. So whatever we know, we know. Whatever we don't know, we don't know. But it's important to keep moving forward. So that is why I understand that most of the people who are coming and studying here don't know anything. So we are also in that same race. It's just about we know 0.1% better than them. We will go to the next level. We don't have to be really good to go to the next level. We just have to be 0.1% better than the cohort to actually go to the next level. So just have that in mind.